Back home, and the e-commerce boom has been a major shot in the arm for courier companies, with increases in business of more than 100% compared to the hard lockdown period at the beginning of last year. The question is, of course, is this now an entrenched trend? Will it continue? I want to talk to Garry Marshall, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the South African Parcel Express Association. Garry, good afternoon to you and welcome. Initially, the industry was on its knees when the hard lockdown started, but you'll tell me that things have really changed for the better.
Yeah, I think, as you mentioned in your introduction, the government's decision during lockdown 4 to allow e-commerce to take place created a lot of impetus. But of course, then the movement into lockdown level 3 made a difference to all commodities across the board. But yes, e-commerce was certainly a game changer for the industry and remains so, by the way.
And people's fears of doing business online has been forced upon them in many ways. They've overcome that, haven't they? It's almost become part of life now.
Yeah, I think there's been a number of quite significant changes, Jeremy, in the sense that from a consumer perspective, the danger of going out and doing shopping in the real world creates a huge amount of fear. So I think e-shopping is a really much safer way to do it, and people are more comfortable sitting at home and they don't have to take all of those risks about going out. I think that's the one thing. The other thing is that there's been a change in infrastructure that makes e-commerce so much more friendly. So if you take pre-COVID, part of the problems that e-commerce operators were facing was the difficulty of doing a delivery, because where was your customer at any particular time? Were they at work? Were they at home? Were they at the shops? Now they're kind of mostly at home. And so that simplified that. The other thing that happened is that it was very difficult to deliver into things like security estates. You couldn't get past the gate. Now, of course, everybody's changed their modus operandi and allow couriers in and so on to deliver. And on top of that, what government did when they introduced e-commerce as a permitted service was to set down very strict protocols in terms of sanitization of both the parcel and the courier themselves, right from beginning of receipt of the parcel from the shipper through the mechanism to delivery to the end user. So it's a very thorough document that was prepared. And that also gives one some peace of mind that at least you are getting a safe article.
I don't need to tell you that you are the last leg of an important supply chain, yet the courier industry, and this is well documented, is often people populated by fly-by-night organizations. Are you confident that to meet this demand, that the sector is now well enough regulated and is reliable enough?
Well, I think, I actually disagree with your first statement. Of course, there are many, many thousands of small operators that perhaps don't follow strict protocols. But if you have a look at them, a great majority of the industry, you've got a dozen players really that are handling 90+% of what goes on in the industry. And they are all serious about the business. They've got millions, if not billions, of rand invested in their businesses. And so they have to take it seriously. They have to make sure that those businesses are sustainable. And that means sticking to the standards that are of very, very high standards. And so whether it's from sanitization through to security or whatever it is, these are big businesses. These are not small businesses. You take internationally, you take some of the big players, they're employing up to 500,000 people with billions and billions of dollars of turnover. And even in South Africa, the local players, these are multi-billion rand businesses. So they have to be run on a professional basis. They're not seat-of-your-pants operators at all.
Garry Marshall, thank you very much indeed. This is Wednesday lunchtime.